It is a sight few people will ever see. Wild Mustangs doing battle in the remote high desert along the California-Nevada border. A band of 4 Mustangs is attempting to join up with the 5 on the right, but the stallion leading the bigger group is not interested. And now his harem of 4 mares joins the attack, charging in to drive the smaller band away.
I think it's perfect. You got the wild horses and you got their home, which is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in the world.
I am among the very fortunate few to witness this amazing display on a Mustang viewing expedition with the Rock Creek Pack Station.
There's a lot of behavior you don't even read in any books. The wild horses teach you that.
Ifada Krohn is our expert guide on this 4-day horseback trek into the Pizona area of the Inyo National Forest. For 17 years, the native of what was then Czechoslovakia has been guiding visitors to observe the Mustangs that live in this wilderness. It is a labor of love.
I always had this close relationship with horses since I was younger, and I think it's my inner connection. The wild horses are very special. You got to have it and feel it inside, otherwise it's hard to explain.
The mares fight more with the back feet, stallion more with pawing the front feet.
Rock Creek is among the few Eastern Sierra outfitters that offer trips every spring into this rugged area, about 50 miles north of Bishop, California. The horseback trek offers the opportunity to get a close-up look at the Montgomery Pass wild horse herd. Several hundred animals, often roaming in small bands, have called this area home for hundreds of years. And half the fun of seeing them is the chance to experience the unspoiled, wide-open country they call home. Awesome country, huh?
It's beautiful.
Our group of about a dozen adventurers, led by expert wranglers, first left civilization behind for a half-day ride to the base camp we'd call home for the next few days. Every morning we'd mount up on well-trained horses and 1 mule to ride out in search of the sometimes elusive Mustangs. We hit the jackpot that day we saw that skirmish between the 2 bands, but even when the Mustangs kept out of sight, their signs were everywhere.
We actually, in a way, do see the horses in different form because we see all where they rolled in the ground. We can see the hoof prints of the lone stallion. We see all the little stud paths where the stallions like to march their territory. And we can see where they were, what they were doing. We can even see if it was a stallion and a herd or foals. And we can just read their life by the hoof prints here. So the tracking is other part of viewing the wild horse life here.
The Montgomery Pass Mustangs are perhaps the most truly wild horses left in the United States. Mountain lions that often prey on young foals, along with the sick, lame, and the old, have largely kept the population in check.
Part of being a wild horse is you live and die out here, huh?
We see a lot of skeletons. We've seen that one. I can show you a couple more next couple days.
Yeah.
They died, the bones are here.
That natural balance here has prevented overgrazing, so there's been no need for the federal government that manages wild horses to do any roundups or removals. Mustangs were first protected by an act of Congress back in 1971. Before then, so-called Mustangers were free to take whatever horses they could trap and capture.
And they'd run the Mustangs from the top of the canyon down into this.
We come across some relics of that bygone age as we ride through a canyon.
So that old piece of wood, it's really old, you can tell. So that's the end of the gate, and so they just you could pick that up and swing it over here and close it. Once you run the Mustangs in, those long poles, if you stood them up, you know, it'd be a pretty tall fence line right there that they couldn't get over.
I tell you, just the chance to get back in this country is worth the price of admission, you know?
Yeah.
There's no better way to see this country than on the back of a horse. And you don't have to be any great rider to come on this adventure.
Great mule that I have to ride on, Gem.
Gem's a gem, huh?
She is a gem.
We'll keep our mounts at a walk as we ride along, the perfect pace to soak in the magnificence of this country. Besides, we've come to see Mustangs, and we don't want to spook any wild horses we may come across. After riding through an immense meadow of sage and climbing a hilltop, we dropped down on the other side.
Just spotted a band of wild horses out there.
And there they are, 4 Mustangs, including a striking buckskin mare.
Yes, the stallion is on the lookout. just looking for any kind of danger. So now we stopped here to make sure we all get a good viewing, because as we near closer, if they're uncomfortable with us, we're gonna veer away because we don't wanna disturb them. But if they're fine with us, we can slowly get a little closer.
The animals, perhaps as curious as we are, apparently don't mind our presence. We get as close as we can and use binoculars to get an even better look. While we watch, the horses drift off to our right, then pull up.
They wanted to really be able to smell us. So often when the horses are even more curious about us, they go exactly downwind, just to get a good sniff, and then they're happy. See?
With the snow-capped peaks of the White Mountains towering in the distance, we gaze at this living symbol of the American West. And then it starts to rain. No problem. We're prepared for the weather.
This is very special to see them this close. Normally when we saw them, like we spotted them first time, we used to not even let them know we're here. We tie the horses down and we kind of crawl on the belly behind a bush like a mile from here and watching with binoculars. So this is very special to see them this close up here.
And as the four animals begin to drift away, another group of Mustangs appears. It's the five who will soon be doing battle. The two groups come closer to check each other out before that clash unfolds. I could watch these horses all day, but we still have hours to go to get back to camp. That's another magnificent ride. Coming from crowded Los Angeles, it's encouraging to know places like this still exist.
You know what's going to be more interesting is when they catch me on fire.
Welcoming fire is blazing away as we get back to camp, where we'll reunite with other riders who split off in a different direction and share our stories of the day.
I had a great day. I loved riding through the canyons and the arroyos. That was really exciting.
I'm a little worried about these plastic pants, to tell you the truth. They're 400 degrees right now.
Whether it's late afternoon or first thing in the morning, our hard-working camp crew is busy keeping the fire stoked and preparing those hot meals that always taste so good outdoors. But our expert camp chef Gene admits wilderness cooking does have its challenges.
Most of the time it's the weather and the sand.
We got a lot of both today, huh?
Well, we got a lot of weather, not too much sand, but if the dries out and the wind comes up, I stay busy trying to keep the dust down.
This is a roughing it adventure, and we'll sleep in tents. Wilderness trips aren't as popular as they once were, but those who won't give up their flat screen for a few days are missing out.
I'm not great on sleeping outdoors, but hey, you know, it's the price you pay for such a wonderful time. Yeah.
There's so much to see up here. Just a short walk from our camp stood the ruins of a stone cabin, which apparently served as a toll booth on the stagecoach road that ran through here back in the day. And obsidian spear points are evidence of the Indians who called this country home.
Very, very cool. Very cool. I've never seen so many obsidian flakes anywhere.
Ivana showed us the remains of an old Paiute camp.
So what you guys see here is actually an entire base structure left behind. And this is like this round dwelling which used to be used with the heights and the, you know, little branches to cover up, and this was the round frame of it.
And the long poles standing up against a tree were used to harvest pine cone nuts, poles that may have been standing there for more than a century.
How we know this is not just a regular piece of wood laying here, right? This doesn't come from any kind of tree which grows here, anywhere near here. This is willow. And it had to be carried here at least 5 miles down there where we have water.
Steps away we see the stone carvings left behind by the more ancient residents of this place, mysterious petroglyphs on the face of a stone wall, a place Ivana calls an outdoor temple.
Got big significant historical, spiritual significance, but even in your own soul you can probably feel this is a very special place.
On our last ride back to civilization, we enjoyed another encounter with Mustangs, a Montgomery Pass subgroup known as the River Springs herd. Among the 60 or so animals were a number of foals. Always a treat to see those delicate youngsters sticking close to mom. And nearby a stallion keeping watch over his harem of mares.
See how he put the head down and he arched his neck? So he's chasing his mares back, see that? That's how the stallion rounds up his mares, right there.
It's all fascinating stuff, and also the perfect way to disconnect from the stress and noise of the modern world. The Mustangs don't mind visitors who respect their space, and the Rock Creek Pack Station makes it all very easy to experience a remote and beautiful part of the West and its magnificent Mustangs that few people will ever see.